Martha Jane Canary, better known as Calamity Jane, was born around May 1, 1852, in Piney Fork, Ohio. There is some uncertainty regarding her exact birth date, and this has been a topic of debate among historians. Calamity Jane's early life was filled with hardship and uncertainty. She was one of 6 children born to Robert and Charlotte Canary, but only a few of them survived to adulthood. Her family moved to Montana Territory when Jane was young, seeking new opportunities. Unfortunately, tragedy struck her early years when her mother died shortly after they arrived. This left Jane and her siblings to fend for themselves, which contributed to her rebellious nature. Her father, struggling to support his family, often moved them from place to place in search of work. Throughout her early life, Calamity Jane experienced extreme poverty and hardship, which shaped her tough character. A life of adventure. By the age of 12, Calamity Jane had become quite independent and capable of taking care of herself. As a young woman, she joined various groups of travelers and performed odd jobs to survive. These jobs included cooking, washing clothes, and caring for livestock. However, her real adventure began when she moved to South Dakota, where she would become known as one of the Wild West's most infamous figures. In her 20s, Calamity Jane joined the U.S. Army during the Indian Wars, working as a scout and supply wagon driver. She was known for her sharpshooting skills and bravery. It was during this time that she earned the nickname Calamity after allegedly saving the life of an officer by killing several Native American warriors in a battle. However, her story was later embellished over the years, and much of the legend surrounding her can be traced back to her own accounts and public personas. Calamity Jane was often associated with the military outposts and frontier towns of the American West, including Deadwood, South Dakota, where she made a name for herself. She often claimed to have worked as a scout, but historical records are unclear about the extent of her actual involvement. Some of her more colorful stories include claims of being a confidant to famous figures like Wild Bill Hickok, though the truth of their relationship is also debated. Relationship with Wild Bill Hickok. One of the most enduring legends about Calamity Jane is her romantic association with Wild Bill Hickok, a renowned frontiersman, lawman, and gunslinger. According to some accounts, Jane and Hickok were in love, but the truth of this is uncertain. Calamity Jane often spoke of Wild Bill as her lover, and she reportedly referred to him as her husband in letters and public speeches. However, other sources suggest that Wild Bill may have had no romantic interest in her, and their relationship may have been purely platonic. Wild Bill Hickok was tragically killed in Deadwood, South Dakota, on August 2, 1876, while playing poker in a saloon. The circumstances surrounding his death remain a subject of debate, but his killing by Jack McCall and his subsequent burial in Deadwood made the town a focal point for Wild West legends. Calamity Jane, devastated by his death, was said to have arranged for Hickok's burial and even attended his funeral. Over the years, Jane would continue to assert that she was deeply connected to Hickok, and many biographers believe that her romantic claims were likely a product of her own imagination and desire for fame. Regardless of their true relationship, Calamity Jane's association with Hickok became one of the defining aspects of her legacy. The Wild West and Calamity Jane's fame. Throughout the 1870s and 1880s, Calamity Jane became a well-known figure in the frontier towns of the American West, especially Deadwood, where she lived for a period. Her larger-than-life persona grew, bolstered by her storytelling and outlandish claims about her exploits. She was known for her boisterous behavior, sharp tongue, and rough manners, and often boasted of her skills with a rifle and her ability to survive in the harsh conditions of the Wild West. Calamity Jane's public appearances became a spectacle, with her wearing men's clothing, swearing, and engaging in masculine behaviors that challenged the conventional gender roles of the time. She also was said to be involved in various enterprises, including working as a prostitute, a laundress, and a performer. As a performer, she joined traveling Wild West shows where she showcased her sharpshooting skills, further cementing her fame as an iconic figure of the West. Calamity Jane's fame as a Wild West heroine grew as she continued to appear in the newspapers, often depicting her as a fearless woman capable of anything. However, much of the public image that Calamity Jane projected was a combination of fact and fiction. She was known to exaggerate her involvement in famous events, and her life became more of a legend than a factual account. Personal struggles and decline. Despite her fame and adventurous lifestyle, Calamity Jane was not immune to personal struggles. She had several failed relationships and difficulties with alcohol throughout her life. In the 1880s, she became a regular fixture at saloons and gambling establishments, where her heavy drinking and volatile behavior often led to trouble. Calamity Jane's physical appearance also began to decline, and by the 1890s, she was no longer the vibrant figure that had once captured the public's imagination. As she aged, Calamity Jane's health deteriorated, and she struggled financially. She attempted to support herself through public speaking engagements and by participating in vaudeville performances, but her fame had waned. In the last years of her life, she suffered from both physical and mental health issues, including tuberculosis. Her fame was still known, but she no longer commanded the same respect or attention that she once had. Death and legacy. Calamity Jane passed away on August 1, 1903, in Terraville, a small mining town near Deadwood, South Dakota, at the age of approximately 51. She was buried next to Wild Bill Hickok in Mount Moriah Cemetery in Deadwood, South Dakota. It is said that her burial alongside Hickok was her final wish, and it cemented the romanticized connection between the two figures in Western lore. Calamity Jane in popular culture. The story of Calamity Jane has been immortalized in countless books, movies, and television shows. She was portrayed as a tough and resilient woman who fought against the limitations imposed by society and lived life on her own terms. However, it is important to note that much of the depiction of Calamity Jane in modern media is based on the mythological version of her life rather than the historical reality. In addition to the Doris Day film, Calamity Jane has been the subject of several biographies, documentaries, and even a Broadway musical. She remains an enduring symbol of strength, independence, and rebellion in the American frontier, despite the complexities of her real life. Conclusion. Calamity Jane's life was a complex and multifaceted one, full of contradictions and legends. Born into hardship, she rose to fame in the Wild West through a combination of bravery, showmanship, and a willingness to embrace the tough conditions of the frontier. Though much of her life is shrouded in mystery and myth, her legacy endures as one of the most iconic and fascinating figures of the American West. Whether as a soldier, scout, or performer, Calamity Jane remains an emblem of the adventurous and often contradictory spirit of the Wild West. In the late 1870s, Calamity Jane rode into the notorious gold mining town of Deadwood, South Dakota, a place where law was scarce and chaos reigned supreme. Her arrival was a spectacle, an assertion of her fearless spirit in the face of adversity. In the saloons of Deadwood, Calamity Jane became a legend in her own right. She was known for her quick wit, fiery temper, and her knack for holding her own in a fight. Men respected her and women admired her spirit. But there was more to Calamity Jane than her wild reputation. In times of crisis, she showed incredible kindness and compassion. During a smallpox outbreak, she worked tirelessly as a nurse, caring for the afflicted, her heart as big as the endless prairies. Her life intertwined with some of the most famous figures of the Wild West, including the likes of Wild Bill Hickok. Together, they faced danger and death on a daily basis, their partnership a testament to their shared love for the frontier. As the years rolled on, Calamity Jane's wild days mellowed. She became a storyteller, recounting her adventures to anyone who would listen. Her tales became the stuff of legends, a window into a time when the West was wild and untamed. Her words a bridge between the past and the present. And so, the legend of Calamity Jane lives on. A wild woman of the West, a fearless pioneer, and a symbol of the indomitable spirit that defined an era. In the annals of history, her name will forever be etched in the heart of the Wild West, a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit in the face of adversity.